Hello everybody, it's Mrs. Dove here. Now today I'd like to talk to you about something called VE Day. Now you're probably thinking, what's VE Day? Well, I'll tell you. On this coming Friday is a bank holiday. Now we don't normally have bank holidays on Fridays, they're normally on a Monday. This Friday is Friday the 8th of May, and this year it's a very, very special day because it is the 75th anniversary of VE Day. Now you're probably thinking, Mrs. Duff, what's VE Day? What's an anniversary? Well, let me try and explain. So an anniversary, probably the easiest way for me to try and explain that to you is if you think about your birthday. Your birthday is a special day and it happens on the same day every year. So when your birthday comes round, we are celebrating the anniversary of your birth. So going back to VE Day. VE Day stands for Victory in Europe. And the first VE Day took place on the 8th of May in 1945. Now that day signified the end of the Second World War, and that was a really, really special day. As you can imagine, people were really, really happy and pleased that the Second World War had finally come to an end. So ever since that day, on the anniversary, so on the same day every year, people have chosen to really think about and honour and remember all those really brave people who took part in the Second World War, and many of them lost their lives trying to keep the country and the world a safer place. Take a look at this picture. Do you recognise the man? He's been in the news quite a lot, so I think you might. That's right, it's Captain Tom Moore. Well, you might be thinking, why are you showing me a picture of him? Well, that's because he is the perfect example of the kind of people that we are remembering and honouring on VE Day. During the Second World War, he was an officer in the army and he survived. But there are many, many people who didn't. So on VE Day, we take time to remember and celebrate the sacrifices that those people made for their country. In a minute, I'm going to show you some photographs. Some were taken on the very first VE Day in 1945, and some were taken on the 50th anniversary in 1995. Now I wonder what you'll notice. Look closely. Who are in the pictures? What are they doing? How do you think they might be feeling? And I'd also like you to have a think about whether you can see the same things or different things in each set of pictures. So you've had a moment to look at those photographs, and I wonder what you noticed. I'll tell you what I noticed. I saw lots and lots of people, and they all looked like they were having a really good time. There was parties, They looked like they were having lots of fun and that they were happy. I could see bunting and banners and flags and food. They were having street parties. That was all the same from 1945 to 1995. But the one thing I really did notice when I looked closely was that in 1945 there were very, very few men in those pictures. But when you looked at the pictures from 1995, there were all members of families there. There was children, mummies, daddies, aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters and nannies and grandpas. But when you look closely at those pictures in 1945, there were quite a lot of men missing. Now I wonder if you might be able to think why that might be. Well, in 1945, VE Day was at the end of the Second World War. Now, lots and lots of men were away from their families because they'd been fighting in the war. So the photographs when they were celebrating the war coming to an end, they hadn't made it home yet and they were still missing from their families. Now let's have a think about this year. I wonder if you might be celebrating VE Day, and will it be different again? Okay, so thinking about this year, I think it will be different. Do you? Well, I think there will be some things that are the same. I think there will be bunting, and I think there will be flags, and I think there will be people celebrating and having a good time. But there won't be street parties and there won't be lots of people all together. People will be celebrating in their own homes, maybe standing on their doorsteps and waving some flags with their neighbours. Which is sad, but it is the way it has to be this year. There'll be plenty of other years that we can have street parties with everybody. Now, if you are going to celebrate, you might want to make some decorations. So I'm going to show you how to make a collage Union Jack, which you could use as a flag or pop up in your window. I hope you enjoy this craft activity. You will need some equipment to make your collage Union Jack decoration. You will need paper, glue stick, ruler, pencil, some old magazines and or scraps of paper. The first thing you'll need to do is draw out your Union Jack template. You'll probably need a grown-up to do this as it's quite a tricky design. I looked at a picture to help me, so you might want to do that too. Now it's time to practice your cutting skills. Have a look through the old magazines and catalogues for anything that is red or blue coloured and cut it out. Once you've got a collection of red and blue pieces of paper, you're ready to begin your collage. Now it's time for the fun bit. Time to stick down all your bits of coloured paper onto your Union Jack design. You might want to look at a photo to help you, and you might want to start with the big red cross in the middle too. Hopefully when you've filled all of the red and blue areas with your scraps of paper, it might look a little bit like this. Well, that's it from me today. I hope you've enjoyed finding out a little bit more about VE Day and what it means and why we celebrate it. So look forward to seeing your Union Jacks and maybe some photographs of the celebrations that you have in your house with your family. Take care everybody, stay safe. Bye bye now.